That would be fine.
All right, testing. Okay.
Are you recording it or is it just live?
We're recording it too. But I gotta let people know we're even doing this. You're good. Uh-oh. No, you're not number 2. You're not number 2. You're number 4. You're number 4.
Number 2.
All right. I'm gonna hold my mic. It's been a long week.
It has been. Why is he not on?
You'd have to move to that one.
You want me on?
Yeah, get on.
Or here.
It doesn't matter.
Just plug this into the back.
Oh,
It was our roaming mic.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Now we got
I
him.
thought Mr. Glunt was coming on.
I
To talk
just-
about all the
just was-
proficiency testing.
I just
needs.
was following Henry.
Oh,
This thing randomly crickets now. I don't know why.
I don't know. Just look, Sapphire proficiency testing
That's
for all your proficiency testing needs.
sure.
What's your logo there, Greg?
It's a sapphire.
No, what's your tagline?
Oh, my tagline? I got to come up with a good one. I don't have one yet.
You want to
When
do
you
a
need
li-
to be sure, Sapphire.
Don't be an outlier.
be proficient.
Be proficient.
Proficiency is key.
Then
Sapphire.
we could do a music video. Be.
Oh, that's happening.
Yeah.
Like a rap one. Have you
I
seen?
really want to do. I think.
Have you seen those Southern car? Is that too loud for you?
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty loud. I'm.
Oh, there. Is that better?
But after listening to Craig sing all last night, I'm pretty deaf.
Those guys had competition.
Would you belt something out for the people
What,
here?
right
that-
now?
Yeah, that weren't here.
Gosh, I don't know.
About your EN ratio song, or
I might blow. I might blow the frequencies out
no,
here.
do it for people. People want entertainment.
I know.
Your Z Prime. I mean, you were
Z prime and Z score.
Z Prime, Z Score.
Eastven's the way to be.
You don't have your song. You were singing it with
I know.
you were singing it with Elton John last night.
I need a
changing all
bow
the
bun
words.
in one hand. And
What's that?
I need a bow bun in one hand and some.
You can ask Ryan about. Why don't you tell Ryan
Oh
your joke?
no, we're not gonna tell
Let's
it.
hear it. I did make this broadcast not safe for
I was
kids.
gonna say that would definitely not be as safe for work or children.
Yeah, for LinkedIn.
Sure.
I don't know about LinkedIn. If it would be safe for LinkedIn or not.
Hmm.
What do you have? Do you have a good one?
I don't have anything good right now. I think I've been spending the morning packing up, and it's taken all my brain power.
I feel that. So Henry,
Yep.
I don't think we have a really good transition here.
Mm-mm.
How has your conference been?
Conference is great. So, we did. Yeah. That's it. Let's
That's
move
great.
on. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
great.
Yeah,
It's
great.
been a lot.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for being here.
It's been good. No, got here Monday. Tuesday went to Disney in the morning with Dillip, and that was fun.
That's what should have been recorded. right
That's
there.
what. Yeah,
That
we
should
should have. We
Right.
should have had
Yeah.
a documentary of Dillip at Disney.
Yep.
We also have Craig Lund here. Oh, let's see if I can even get you on. There you go.
Split side.
But yeah, we went to Disney. A show opened. Disney, we had long lines, which kind of sucks. So Craig's
Yeah.
the Disney master. He wasn't there to guide us.
If I'd have known what was going on, I probably would have come out the day before, because there's nothing more that I wanted to see is the angry curmudgeon waiting in line
Yes,
for
Star Wars.
Smuggler's Run, Star Wars rides.
Well, and then you guys didn't get on one of them, right?
Yeah, one broke down halfway through, and then Craig said we definitely need
I
to
said
do
you
it.
don't give up.
Yeah,
I mean,
we gave up. We
this-
gave up. It was a long day, and then the show started on Tuesday night. So, and it's been pretty much going since then.
What
Nice.
day is it?
It is Friday.
Is
It is
Friday?
Friday now. It's been a long week.
It has been a long week. Yesterday was a long day because it started at 8 training sessions. We did we did a 4th session yesterday, and then Dilip, Greg Senker, and I did a CPR for measurement confidence.
How did that go? I was excited about that.
Pretty well. Craig sat in and just berated us a little, so I guess that's okay.
There you go, berating them again.
I wouldn't say berate. Like, he's always got these words for, making fun of people. It's not. I wasn't making fun of anybody. No berating. Just making sure everybody stays on track.
That's good.
So, but that was good. Greg's. It's been decent. Yesterday was long though, and then we went. MSC provides a lot of interesting.
Oh, look who it is!
Look, Mr. Joseph is here.
Joseph is here. He brought like a bottle of liquor in the bag or something. Oh, I forgot my book too. We brought our books so you could sign them.
Devalue them.
Yeah.
Take a $150 book and make it worth 57
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear fine.
Oh, there he is. We were just talking about how the conference has been. This has been a good week, huh?
I think it has.
We had our tutorial. Henry was talking about his. What has been your impression of everything for the whole week, Joseph?
I thought there was a lot of excitement. I thought there was a lot of effervescence.
Ooh.
It seemed like
Did you pay him for those words?
Yes.
It seems like this one's a little, getting back on pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we were just talking about the joint conferences. We need to do one with NCSLI. Could you imagine that? MSC and NCSLI together?
Probably should. I mean, it should, or bounce them. One year NCSLI in Florida, the next year MSC in California.
Oh, you're all about that Florida. I guess that's about the same annoyance, right?
It's all this. It's a destination. So have the conference somewhere that people can go with their families afterwards or take advantage of the area.
Are you an I-95 guy?
Nope.
Just hop on it.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I've driven I don't love the I-95, but yes, I drive on I-95.
Is that a thing?
Well, I lived in Florida for a while, and majority of the cars down there have New York or Ohio, Pennsylvania.
What's wrong with Ohio?
Oh, nothing's wrong with Ohio.
The Craig Sapphire testings in Ohio, so
it's the one good thing in Ohio. Just kidding, Ohio people. Just kidding.
So, you mean Ohio person? Do you think there's someone from Ohio listening?
There's probably one person from Ohio in our
and
podcast.
It's Craig. And it's
Craig.
Me.
I'm here. I wanted to do the radio thing and listen. How do I sound on the radio?
Yeah, I hope Dilip's not listening.
He was just over there.
Yeah, we tried to get him over here. Doing what he's doing. No, it's tiring. You do the shows, but yeah, it would be nice to bounce back and forth, East Coast, West Coast.
That would be cool.
And have a destination. The only reason I like Florida is, like I said, because it's a destination people want to go to.
Well, and one huge conference versus two that are split up of very similar groups. I don't know. It makes
probably
sense.
Never happened, but it would be cool if it.
How the synergy of that would work. Who would be in the lead? Who wouldn't be in the lead? It would be interesting.
It's almost that now, though.
Yeah,
sure.
A lot of people from NCSL. A lot of people go to both conferences.
Sure.
NCSLI is a little bigger, or has been.
It draws a little bit different crowd. From what I think.
Yeah, that's because you have the standards committees and all that in there. Tutorials are about the same. I mean, the really good tutorials here.
Yeah.
I see a lot of the same people, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and both of them are heavy in the Department of Defense and governmental. I'm curious if we did one larger, if there's a way that we could make it
DOD.
Easier for smaller labs to go. That's the key, is getting the small labs able to send out some technicians.
Right. But if people knew every other year, my argument would be if people knew every other year is California, Florida, Florida.
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
They just plan it. Say, okay, we can't come this year, but we'll go, next 2 years from Florida, or next year in California, or do whatever.
For sure.
The goal is to grow metrology, because there's a lot of new people coming into this business, And
Well,
they don't
hopefully a
know.
lot of new people.
What's that?
Hopefully a lot of new people.
There are, and they don't know. And unfortunately, the statistics now are people keep their jobs for about 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's not enough time to train somebody and get them really proficient. And then
That whole idea of working at the same company for 20 years kind of went out the door somewhere along the way of the American dream.
yeah,
Went by about 7-8 years ago, probably.
Oh, longer than that. When I was a young guy, they did away with retirement plans, and then the unions got involved, and
Yeah.
just
It was about 7. The average was about 7 years. There were conferences that I attended, and they would say, "Hey, if you're working at a company, you're going to either have a new job or the company's going to be a different company within the next 7 years."
yeah,
And that was in aerospace.
yeah,
Dang.
But that's happening here now too. I mean, ATS is buying labs. A lot of the smaller labs are being bought up by the bigger companies.
yeah. Transcat's a big one.
Transcat's buying what?
Trescal's still
Trescal.
buying.
Cow.
I think I don't think Tektronix and Simco are both. I think they're reducing a little bit.
Really?
I think so. Consolidating.
But yeah, that's the big thing. Growth through acquisition. It's happening a lot.
Yeah.
And if they have good systems, great. But it still comes down to training people.
Oh yeah. Well, the core of everything comes down to that technician that is gone,
Yeah,
that is not
access
around.
to those.
Access
To those.
Ryan and I probably have a little good grip on this because we've been around. It's my impression that it takes somebody about a year to get really proficient in a lab once they get there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah. About.
So if they're moving 3 years, you lose
Yeah,
a whole
but
year.
2 to 3 years, you lose a year. You have a year of maybe a year and a half of a good tech.
Yeah.
The
that's
goal
too
is to
bad.
keep them. So that's why you work on your culture, management. You work on all the things that matter.
You nailed
Yeah.
it.
Offer something different.
Remember, everyone comes to this, like the technicians out there, when they're in transition, they always come to us and they're like, "Hey, know of any labs hiring?" That makes
Right.
sense. But they always tell us their sob stories of the past places, and they're always along those lines. The management is horrible, or
They
it's
won't
usually
listen to my needs, but there's got to be filters there too, because some of it. There
well,
are
some of those
people,
managers are crappy though.
Managers, there are a lot of crappy managers, and there are a lot of people that have the me, I attitude.
That's true too.
So if you're not a team player, that's a problem on your end and something that you need to work about.
That's really so important. We can use metrics for everything except personalities and demeanor and behavior, like you said.
Yep.
Corporate culture is a big thing.
Yep. Throw away the language of me, I. This person works for me.
Yeah.
Instead of, the language, it's a lot better when you say this person works with me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or the other way around, where as an owner, working, you work for those people.
Yeah.
That's got to be the biggest stress just in general. Having
Yeah.
employees alone is knowing that you're in charge of the livelihood of 20 to 30 people.
Yeah.
Or
You know,
more,
and the
yeah.
decisions that you make on that side are
Directly impact that. It directly impacts them.
And one of the things
sure.
too is that we have all these training out there for management training, management this, but we never have any training for like how to be managed,
Yeah.
how to understand your manager, how to understand what they things that you want.
Couples therapy.
Almost couples therapy.
Couples therapy for work.
Yeah.
Accountability is a two-way street. So if you're not having the open dialogue and conversation, and you just go and start complaining about things,
Sure.
That's a problem.
Well, I've told you this, when I've been wanting to do this YouTube project and all this stuff for a long time, and finding the right, framing and angles of things to interest the right people is important. And with looking at the industry, sometimes it's hard to fully embrace or endorse the industry when we're facing some of those issues.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like we need to fix internally before a lot of progress can be made. Especially when it comes everything that we've talked about in the past. But it's where does it start? How do we get there? That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And we won't. in my YouTube project, for a long time, it's like, hey, it's for everyone, right? Metrology is for everyone. Well, and then I was like, no, we don't want quiet quitters. We don't want people that don't care.
Sure.
Right.
So we're actually looking for a small segment of people that do care about their job, want to excel, and have some sort of integrity.
It's like a trade, right? If you like it, so there's a lot of people that love it, right? They like the math, they like the complicated problems, they like troubleshooting. And there's other people that, you give them something and it doesn't work right, and they're pissed off beyond belief because they don't know how to handle something if it's not in the procedure.
Hmm.
So there's some independent thinking that's definitely involved with this. Yesterday we had a class, and during the class we were talking about um, basically reliability. And one of the people Greg Senker was there, and he was talking about when he was analyzing reliability from the technician level. And overall, the company had about a 95% reliability, but about several technicians had 100%. Nothing ever failed.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So he reported it because look, people have bias. When you run, and then he talked about when you ran it automated, the reliability was a lot less. But what's that tell you? It just tells you people have bias. People want to pass the instruments.
And this is one of the reasons you need proficiency testing.
Yeah. Well, you go blind, you can send it through, but then right, back to what Joseph was saying and stuff, depending on the organization and whatnot, if you have somebody that's falsifying, how do you get rid of them in a big corporate environment?
You can utilize things like the proficiency testing ILC programs where you have design biases set into the products.
Yep. And that's what he did.
You basically run through and say, well, how did you achieve this when we know that the number is this? And then when they don't have any answers to it, then you've got your answer.
Right.
So here's a question for you. If we're talking certification, is that something that should be, is that something, because as a certification company, we're supposed to have terms and conditions for revoking certification or putting certification on hold, right? For like not administrative hold, but like a
Right.
negative hold or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, if there's substantial proof or something like that, is that something that we should enforce as a certification?
You would think so, but not to go too far down this rabbit hole. But look at it. I mean, Craig does audits for A2LA.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the ABs. You look at all this. Not all labs are treated equally. They're not all held to the same standards. Different auditors. I mean, Craig can talk a little bit about it, I assume, but different auditors see different things. We just had a new pick audit, and during the first 15 minutes of the audit, the guy said there's several labs that the teams have audited for the last 10 years, and within the first 15 to 30 minutes, he's finding 2 or 3 deficiencies off the top.
Yeah, with the auditing process and assessment process, I think one of the big things is that one of the benefits to it is the fact that you get different individuals in each time. Each one of us had different aspects that we're experienced in or have expertise in, and sometimes you get focused on those. The hard part with assessment just in general is that there's no way. I don't think there's, outside of say quality system evaluation.
Right.
Outside of that, there's really no way to say have a standardized, like every time you come in, you're going to get the same assessment by different people every time, just because of that difference in experience and difference in just aspect of how they may approach, methodology or approach some kind of technology, what their experience is in it. They may see things that others don't. I find that a lot.
Yeah, you're limited to what they know.
Sure, exactly.
Right.
So you'll see a lab that's been accredited for 20 years, and you'll come up against technical method, and you go, well, why aren't you doing this? And then you'll pull the whatever consensus document out, and you'll be like, well, here's where it says in the consensus document what you should do, and you're not doing it. And then they're like, well, why hasn't that happened before? Why has nobody ever pointed that out before? So it all comes down to experience from the individuals that come in, and it just means you're going to get different audits from different people.
And different ABs.
Different ABs.
Different ABs.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people with ABs that they're complaining about repeatability studies. Well, why I haven't had to do this in the last 20 years? Now you're making me do it. Why do I have to do it? That
Sure.
one of our customers was saying that with one of the ABs. So the question is, why weren't they doing it? And now all of a sudden the ABs, we're going to enforce this because everybody else is doing it, and it's part of the 5 R's and the E for measurement uncertainty. And where's your repeatability? And the person that's now being audited says, why do I need this? I've done this 20 years without this. Why now?
It's kind of the idea of measurement uncertainty just in general. When accreditation first hit in 1999, wasn't it? I think when the first iteration said
Kind of a
2.5 came out.
boom. Yeah.
Mhm.
the
So
big
so
boom.
we opened up the doors and we said, hey, if we're going to all do analysis and measurement uncertainty, we can't do measurement uncertainty like I would say in the collegiate type where we're taking true sample populations and all these things.
Right.
We wrote the gum basically with the understanding that, hey guys, the reason why this is here is because we need to make assumptions about things.
Yep.
And this is how you determine where those assumptions are meaningful. And so one of the problems you run into, so from day one, even if we'd have taken everything in the gum and we'd applied it on day one as an
Can't.
accrediting body, 17025 would never have gotten off the ground.
Nope.
So it started out as bits and pieces of what I like to say the onion, layers to it. And each, as we progress through time, we're adding more layers to the onion to be in compliance and in conformance with what we decided originally with what the gum is going to do.
Yeah.
So and we're right kind of at that precipice, I think, of where you're handling everything at say like 99% of what that document wants you to do.
And now there's the huge debate, right, on still measurement uncertainty. People aren't capturing all the contributors. They're not correcting for bias. Oh,
Look,
there
here
comes Mr. Shaw. Come on, he's coming.
Here comes the Dillip tornado.
There he is.
Oh, that's up to you.
So,
As,
do we
as
sing?
we,
Can we sing his theme song as he comes in the?
as
he
we
comes in?
talk about measurement uncertainty, it's like it just appears.
Yeah, I know. That's quite ironic.
It's odd.
Is it not?
It is.
You say measurement uncertainty, and Mr. Shaw appears.
We're being
Is that,
joined by Dillip.
It's kind of like look in the mirror, say it 3 times, and he shows
Yeah,
up.
like Candyman. So
Yeah.
anybody out there, let's do a little look in your mirror and say measurement uncertainty 3 times, and we'll see if Dylan vanishes.
How is
Would it be
If
nice
he does, I'm freaking out. Just to let you know.
if I could teleport like that, right?
exactly?
Then all this taking the red-eye flight, you could just utter the magic word and you'll be back home.
Yep. I'd be like, can you go to my Ohio residence and say measurement uncertainty 3 times? I need to get home to do my laundry.
Somebody help me out, please.
So
how has your conference been?
the conference has been fantastic. Every year I kind of, think about like, should I go? Should I go? And I said, yeah, this is my last conference. I won't come next year.
It's like
And
a
then
Rolling
last
Stones
night
tour.
we were having so much fun. And the conference is really, about people
Right.
and the networking and sharing of knowledge. And that's the part I really love. And so last night I was telling Henry, and I said, hey, I think I'm going to come back.
Yeah, you're like the Craig just said you're like the Rolling Stones. You're never gonna stop.
I saw their farewell tour in '93.
Yeah. Dylan's farewell tour has been the last
Yeah,
5 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
The final farewell.
so yeah, the conference was really great, and I did 2 tutorials. One was with Henry and Greg Sanker,
The CPR.
the CPR one, and that was great. And I did 1 tutorial myself with measurement confidence and decision rules, and that was really great. And one of the things that I've been doing on the tutorials I do is I encourage a lot of interaction,
Mm.
and I had great interaction, and that makes you feel so mentally stimulated.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, you feel really satisfied. And the same thing happens with the attendees, because they come with their set of questions. Everybody has their own individual set of questions, and by allowing time for that interaction, um, you answer the attendees' questions, and for me, it helps me become a better tutorial person, and then the next tutorial gets even better. The present, like the attendees, may not get that benefit, but it
The
always
next
gets
ones do.
better, and so that's the unfortunate part. But at least you kind of fulfill and exceed their expectations, so you feel really good about doing that, because a lot of times, uh, you know, in the tutorials, there are people who are fairly new. They're shy and they're worried about asking, oh, is this going to be a silly question or a stupid
Right,
question?
yeah.
And I say, yeah, there are no silly or stupid questions in my book. If you have a question, if you don't know, ask, don't be bashful. And they really open up after a while because they feel that comfort. And so, yeah, you're in a comfortable zone, you can ask those questions, and that's how it was. And all recent tutorials I've done has been like that. So,
I agree with you. We've been with we do the hands-on stuff, and you'll have people that are apologizing for taking a minute. It's like, no, take
yeah,
your time. We are here to make sure you understand this. You don't have to keep up with everybody. It's not a competition, and I have
yeah,
no problem letting the people that are zooming ahead, they can zoom ahead. Let's
yeah,
focus on everybody getting the same out of the training. So yeah.
yeah. And I've been actually purposefully building in time for that interaction.
Yeah.
And I have less number of my PowerPoint slides,
Yeah.
because I basically said that, yeah, I can run through these PowerPoint slides in 2 hours, and then you can go home for this 8-hour workshop. But the 6 hours is that interaction.
Right.
And that was how it has been on the few workshops I've done, and it's really worked out well.
And he has a new tagline.
What's the new tagline?
He's Darth Shaw.
Well, that
That's
fits.
his new name, Darth Shaw, and tell everybody your new tagline.
My tagline? Oh, yes. I find the lack of resolution in your measurement uncertainty budget disturbing.
I
Love
was
it.
hoping we'd go off the rails.
You were hoping.
I was wondering when we potentially might go off the rails.
That's
Yeah,
not
it's
off the
gotta
rails.
happen.
It's-
People like it.
I know.
They don't want to hear about flowers and rainbows.
Last time we were on, it went blah 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 blah
Kisses.
blah, and then it went off the rails. Like I don't even know what got on. What did?
And Dilip's 3-hour breaks he gives during his tutorial.
Yeah, you.
Right,
and you,
right.
on the other hand, be back in 12 minutes.
Takes
I want you to walk. I want you to walk over, inhale a cookie. Don't even think about coffee, and I want you back in your seat
because you
in
need to learn.
11 minutes and 59 seconds.
I usually, when I give a break and I say, let's take a 10-minute break with an uncertainty of plus or minus 5 minutes.
Nice.
Man, look at that! Look at that spread. That's
Yeah.
a heck of a tolerance window.
What's the student's T distribution?
Depends how many people are back.
Serious?
He does that. He says out of 10 people, 9 were back in 14 minutes.
That's a probability
Oh
of.
my.
Hey, that's a great way to
87.7%.
do some hands-on statistics, right?
Yeah.
And apply it to measurement uncertainty.
Yeah. How many people are back in the break? Yeah. Yesterday when we gave the 20-minute break, it was about 25 that people needed.
We're waving at some other people, so.
Yeah, they can see it past there. We're live here, so there are people walking around.
Live at MSC.
So today's the last
Darshaw.
day. We everything starts packing up at noon. Is that right?
No.
Or
so,
sooner.
So the way the trade shows go, probably the countdown probably will start around 10:50. Someone will go, and then the next person will go, and by 11:30, the majority will be packed up.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that will be me that leads it then, because I have to pick my wife up at the airport.
No, typically with the trade show, this last day, yesterday, the day before, people go in and out. Today, I talked to a bunch of people that were just not going to be here today. They came Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, yeah,
There are
right.
there are sessions today, but it's pretty light overall.
Is there ITS 10 afterwards this afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are people attending sessions, but it starts thinning out. The crowd start thinning out. Exhibitors start
Well,
tearing down exhibits.
is this longer this year than it has been in the past?
Yes.
Yes.
It's
So
added.
That's
yes.
maybe one of the.
Yes. So the tutorials ran Wednesday, the whole week, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, and now today there's some ITS.
It is
stuff.
longer for exhibitors, which I think is a good idea.
Mhm.
Right.
But the tutorials are like taking into the sessions and exhibit time. So I wish the tutorial started like Monday
Yep.
or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday
And,
tutorials.
Tuesday would have been really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
And
Tuesday, Wednesday.
It used to be like that where the NIST tutorials were on Monday, started Monday
Right.
through Tuesday.
Yep.
And then the MSC tutorials started on Wednesday.
Hmm.
And then the actual technical sessions were Thursday and half day Friday. And so that used to be the schedule. And,
Yeah. And now this week all we have is technical sessions this morning on Friday.
yeah, and this is my 33rd year coming to MSC. And I've
33rd.
missed
He's like Rolling
33rd
Rock.
year.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I've missed 3 out of the 33 years.
Man.
What happened on those 3 years?
The one with the COVID and the rescheduling,
Mm.
they moved the dates 3 times, and by that time I was already committed. The other 2, I was still with my previous employer, and they'd gotten acquired, and I had a position as a um, I wore 2 hats. I wore the worldwide QA director and the corporate treasurer. So
Ooh.
I was swamped with work, and I couldn't come to those 2.
So it wasn't like you woke up in Shanghai with a stack of receipts and no knowledge of where you came from.
It was pretty much like that. 1 week I was in.
That was pretty much like that.
Yeah, one week I was in Europe, and while I was in Europe, my boss calls me and says, "Oh, by the way, you're going to Japan next week," and the jet lag was just.
Oh yeah.
It took me 3 weeks to recover from the jet lag when I came back from Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lived in Japan for a year, and that first week is a doozy.
Yeah.
Craig, you're saying Hangover 2 is based on an experience
I
from
was,
Dillip?
yeah, that's why I was kind of, wondering, maybe around the same time frame.
Nice.
They got the idea from
Sure.
from
Yeah.
him.
Yep.
Dillip was a ghostwriter for it.
Dillip inspired Hangover Part 2.
Yep.
So what's next, Henry?
What's next? Go back. What is next? Oh, well, we have a webinar Tuesday on our new software for anybody that's listening that cares. Free webinar on our calibration software, download, meters, everything else. Our programmer is going to be giving that, and it's going to be a how-to and lots of new features. So that's this coming Tuesday.
Nice.
And after that, I don't know, what is it? We NCSLI is coming up in July in Orlando.
Yeah, and I actually got volunteered to arrange the tutorial program for NCSLI, and
You volunteered or you got voluntold?
I got voluntold. And I managed the tutorial program for 6 years from 2012 through 2017 before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got volunteered, and it was a fun thing because I got almost 80% of the tutorials set,
Oh, good.
and I got a couple more here at MSC, and I may get one more. So these venues are great to like meet people face to face,
And put the pressure on them.
and
And
yeah.
volunteer them.
Yeah,
I
put
helped
the
you
heat on
before.
them.
You owe me.
Yeah, and
Darshall.
when you come this long, you establish the personal relationships. So I can go and tell that, hey, you're doing a tutorial for me. And it's
Exactly.
like you are doing a tutorial. It's
Like,
not like, will
yes,
you do a
Philip.
He
tutorial or
tried it
not?
with Craig, but
Yeah,
Craig can't do it. But Craig needs to do one
yeah,
on
but
Yeah,
proficiency testing.
I think
uh,
that'd be good.
yeah, uh,
I want to get
but
something in our course about that for so
Yeah.
that
On PT and ILCs and stuff like
yeah,
that.
so that people know about all that.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely something that needs focus. A lot of labs don't do it. A
Hmm.
lot of labs do it and don't do it right.
But it's required to have a plan. What do you
It
mean?
is required to have a plan. But
You
that's
don't
the
have
other
to do it.
part is each AB has a different aspect. It depends on which AB you go to on what their requirements are.
Yep.
They all have to comply with ILAC, but they all find different ways to not comply with ILAC or
Yeah.
go with a different approach.
Don't you think that takes a lot of energy to figure out how not to do something
Yes,
instead of just doing
it's
it?
always fun when I
uh-huh.
go somewhere where they do all of their due diligence to find out how not to do something rather than just do it. It's
Yeah,
always one of my favorite
It's taken me 30 hours to figure out
aspects.
how not to do
and
this.
Yeah.
That would have
and
taken me 5 hours to do it.
Yes.
if it was me as a lab, I would want to know how well I'm doing compared to others,
Yeah,
because
Mhm.
it's like benchmarking. It's really
yeah,
benchmarking, right? And then once you find out, this gives you opportunities to say, okay, how can I improve on my measurements?
right.
So uh, for me, it's like a good practice.
I mean, even myself, we're getting in all these standards and stuff,
Mhm.
for the school. I'm like, man, I want to see how close we actually are to everything.
It also
Yeah,
gives some laboratories, when they get in a round robin group like that, like not every laboratory will do a measurement the same way,
Right.
and then
Oh
they,
yeah,
they
yeah.
may deviate
yeah,
because they think, well, this isn't necessary, and then they'll find out during a process. I had some groups go through a thread plug calibration recently,
Hmm.
and some of them weren't paying any attention to force application,
Oh
Oh,
geez.
Greg
or
talked
or
about.
didn't or didn't have their the force on settings on their bench micrometers calibrated
Greg
or
talked
units.
about this yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it becomes, or you even get into the aspect of you can go a layer deeper with that, where the thread plugs or thread wires that they use to do the thread plugs, they don't measure them over around
Mm.
Yeah.
around a flat surface, so you're
Greg.
not getting the same deformation.
Greg was telling us people were not wearing gloves.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
happens as
that
well.
happens a
Yeah,
lot. They
so
don't know.
so it's like, so you get the ability to kind of give a kind of a side set of training in some aspects when they do have an issue with something. Well, here's the things you can look at, and then you find out, well, we don't do this, we don't do that, and then when they go through it again and do all those things, guess what? They fall within.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
I mean,
problems in that training.
you mean with a micrometer, you can't just squeeze until you get the right measurement?
Paul told us that at NCSLI, you use it as a wrench, right?
Yeah, you just keep
Yeah. Just
squeezing
squeeze
it
it.
down until you get the right
Yeah.
measurement.
Yeah.
yeah. And when I owned the
Jokes, of course.
proficiency testing business, we had one participant, and this was a great story. You hear
You
horror
had one
stories.
one one client.
Well, no, this was one of the ones that initially they failed the PT, and then they said, okay, we're going to use this as an opportunity. But one of the unique things they did was when they made the measurement, they actually made 30 measurements.
Hmm.
Usually, somebody participates and they don't think about this through, and they'll make a single measurement and report it. And
That's your
uh,
favorite.
so they kind of looked at things, and this was a pressure PT, and they did find out there was a small leak in their hose connections uh, that they would have never detected when they would have just calibrated things and so on.
Yeah.
But so that PT was an opportunity for them to find that issue in the plumbing for the pressure and fix it. So I was so glad. Like they said, yeah, we looked at this and we found this slow leak. We fixed it, and they submitted the new results. So that really did it like
Oh,
I would want to do it.
it's that final piece to close the gap. Did I do my measurement uncertainty calculation together correctly to a point where I can pass my proficiency test?
Yeah. So this lab, I mean, used that opportunity to participate in the PD and did the right
That's
thing.
awesome.
So it's always like good to share good stories. We
Yeah.
share bad stories, horror stories, but here was one example which I was really impressed with them.
Yeah, I like it.
Craig has some horror force stories on PTs. What are you gonna say?
Goodness. Oh no, and then you have the individuals that will report a 1 thou uncertainty on a 10 millionths micrometer, and then oh yeah, we passed. Like they do PT just to pass, so they'll
Yeah.
give an uncertainty so ungodly high, so their ECM comes within.
That's because they
Terms.
account for resolution and budget.
Sure, sure.
Oof.
They just said it to, and we were talking the other day, just set it real course, that everything's perfect.
Exactly.
All my
It-
standard
all-
deviations
all
are
ze-
always perfect.
All zeros, baby,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, the thing with that is there are ways to pass,
Sure.
because if you report a higher uncertainty, but the consequences of that is if your accrediting body is looking at those results, they may make you revise your scope of accreditation
To match.
CMC to match the higher uncertainties. Now that puts a lab at a disadvantage.
I wish
Oh,
they
yeah.
would do that, but chances are they're not doing that.
True, but there's always an possibility that that can happen.
It's interesting when you talk about that kind of thing. When you look at what Europe requires versus what gets required in the United States. So if ABs over in Europe require a laboratory, if they're going to add an aspect to their scope of accreditation, they are required to successfully perform a PT at the level at which they want to claim their CMC.
Yep.
Before they can even put it on their scope. Here,
Just add it.
we just add it and we make sure that we go through a competency evaluation and look at their measurement uncertainty and verify they have traceability, and we say we're done. It'd be interesting if that would occur here. It's kind of interesting too, because we all fall underneath the same umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it just a politics
Yeah.
type thing? The needs of.
I've never delved into what's behind it. I think it just comes down to wanting to be assured that each individual laboratory is capable of doing what they do.
Yeah. And
They want to have that assurance.
and all the like we said, all the ABs are different, and that's different countries. So
Sure.
UCAS is entirely different than NABL.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you're in a different country, who knows? If you're here in the United States, who knows? Because there's, like you said, there's five different ABs, and they're all
Each
doing
one of
things
those
differently.
Each one of those ABs has a different
I-
requirement and even different as way that things get assessed at some points when it comes to PT.
Yep.
When I hear about discussions like this, I always think like if I was a customer of
Right.
calibration services, uh, and part of my vendor evaluation, I would not only look at the scope of accreditation,
Hmm.
and I may ask the lab for their last PT results on the whatever discipline I was sending out to be calibrated. I wonder how.
Well, you're
that
going to
would
start
work.
making places sweat.
You heard that here. Dillip said you should ask for PT requirements before you
Ye-
use their vendor.
From Sapphire
From
Test.
Sapphire Test.
Yeah, because that wouldn't that be great? Because the thing about coming to this conference is an exchange of ideas. Is those are the kind of new things you think about, and one of the things that I'm gonna speak at one of the a large group of professionals is how to evaluate your calibration supplier and what to
Right.
specify. So I'm going to include that.
Are you
in
presenting?
I am most likely going to present.
So
we
so
won't-
that's good. That's going to be, where's that? Denver?
It's going to be in Denver.
Oh yeah, that's at the NUPIC conference in
Yeah.
Denver. Yep, that's in June.
Oh, what is that one?
Um, it is a new big conference, and that's about all I know.
Yep.
Because I haven't read the brochure or anything.
Yeah,
What's
they have
NUPIC?
different sessions.
Nuclear Regulatory Commission
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
requirements.
I didn't know what that was.
So we had some of the things that Dilip's talking about. We had a PO come in, and the PO specifically said, "Hey, if you can't meet 4 to 1, report measurement uncertainties." And we see stuff like that all the time come in. But yet ILAC P14, the requirements to report measurement uncertainties regardless.
Yeah.
So this is just you talk about at the turn. We talk about the 2-3 year turn in the lab. In purchasing, it's even worse because if they're right, somebody finally gets trained on how to request things for everybody, and then they're gone. Someone else comes in, and then you get, if you're lucky, you get the please with the calibrate, or you get the calibrate as found as left to ISO IEC 17025. We see a lot of that, which that's not as bad as just the ones that say calibrate.
Yeah.
Or say nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I see a little bit of all of it. You know, there's plenty of the third parties that they don't charge for the uncertainties. They provide them either
Sure.
way. But then you see the ones that are like, you can have just a pass certificate, no data, anything like that. I always find those ones weird.
Well, that
Yeah,
how in the world do
But
you
if
account
you
for measurement
now
uncertainty?
issue an accredited calibration certificate, you're required to provide the measurement result and the
The associated uncertainty. It's right in
measurement
P14.
uncertainty.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the third-party Cal Labs, their business is like 15% accredited. Like such
Sure.
a small percentage, like teeny.
Yeah, I love that one. No, but if you're accredited, why are you doing things differently? What's accredited versus non-accredited?
Well, that's
why
the funny
would you,
thing.
why
Nothing
would,
is. In
Why
a
would
lot
your
of cases-
process be that different?
Well, you know what the change is that they'll let any technician do it at that point.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
and they don't sit there and say it's these standards. you
Not
know?
just any
But
yeah.
then why make a distinction in the laboratory between quote unquote accredited technician and an unaccredited technician?
Oh, I'm
So-
with you.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So
to me.
here's what I've seen is where laboratories that may not ever, they never report measurement uncertainty. They never issue an accredited certificate, and in the contract with the customer it says that we require you to be an accredited laboratory.
Mhm.
And then we go through the process, and then you basically have to look at examples of what they would do if they issued accredited certificates. But then I kind of have a little sidebar and I say, look guys, in your contract with this one customer that you have, you say that you are an accredited laboratory, but you're not doing any of the parts or examples of where you issue certificates. You're doing any of the information that relates to contract review outside of what you've got here. All those things say that you or should be an accredited laboratory. So everything that you do, regardless, it doesn't really change what happens in a laboratory.
Nope.
At the bench. It should be an accredited process, accredited, everything related to accreditation should fall within that.
Interesting.
And those labs don't realize that, and it'll come down to one moment where they get an assessment or an auditor on their end at that vendor or that customer they use that says, hey, you guys aren't following what is said in your contract. How are you going to rectify
I've
that?
actually seen that. I've seen where the organization gets into a
Sure.
contractual situation that says, hey, we're going to be accredited, and they never do.
Yeah,
and then they start jumping through hoops,
Yeah.
and then they get accredited on 2 devices.
But then they do a whole bunch of things
Same.
outside
Just
of their scope.
The same thing. Yeah,
Yep.
the way they did, just 2 devices
Sure.
accredited, and then they say, oh, we're accredited.
Sure.
Yeah, on the flip side of things is for a lot of larger organizations, when they send an item out for calibration, they may do everything right in that, but then you have the middle person, so to speak, which is the corporate purchasing. And for corporate purchasing, buying paper clips is the same as buying accredited calibration service.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and then they look at and say, oh, XYZ laboratory is accredited. And that's all they care.
Let me
Right.
find the best price so I can
Yes.
maximize the
Yes.
company's profit.
Certified staples.
And they may be accredited in, like you say, 1 or 2 disciplines, and not the discipline you're sending this item out to get the accredited calibration. So, and then the other side of it is when you receive the calibrated service is for the end user to make sure they got what they asked for.
Mhm. That
And
probably
they don't look at the certificate.
Nope.
is
A lot of times.
25% of the problem.
Yeah.
More in some
Well,
cases.
that
Yeah.
sounds like that's a part of our customer awareness projects. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Certificates, I know we all talk about certificates and we teach classes about how to read certificates. We had a gal that hooked us up with a customer that was calibrating in accordance with 17025. And I asked her, what does that mean? And she goes, well, you said 17025. I said, accredited, not in accordance with.
Right.
And I've even seen people put the little
Yeah.
logos.
so
The AD
you know
body.
what's the difference between accordance with or in complying with the requirement versus accredited?
Tell
Yeah,
us.
yeah. So if you're driving on a highway and the speed limit is 55 miles per hour, and you say, yes, I am observing the speed limit, that is compliance or in accordance with. But when you get accredited is when the highway patrol puts that radar gun on you and say, yes, you are observing the speed limit, or no, you're not. That's accreditation.
Or you say, or they pull you over and you say, but officer, my speedometer read 55. Must be out of calibration. I clocked you doing 83.
At one of the NCSLI conferences,
There you go.
Oh, I love these. You need the Darth Vader
The
one
sound
for
I
Dylan.
know. I'll have
when
to
he
add
did-
that in.
the so at one of the NCSLI conferences, we had a gentleman give a presentation who was actually calibrating the radar guns for the Colorado State Highway Patrol. And he had some very interesting stories to tell.
Calibrate it with a little
The
little give in there.
tuning fork.
Yeah.
So usually the tuning fork is in the back of the trunk, the patrolman's car, is flopping around with all the other loose items. So that one, yeah, you could obviously challenge that.
Interesting.
But if it's laser,
They
then
don't do that anymore.
don't yeah
Firsthand.
What's it?
don't challenge the laser devices. And I've, I served on the local university's board of advisors, and one of the professors there used to constantly go and testify on behalf of the speeding cases and the drunk driving cases, uh, as far as the technical issues related to speed guns for the state. And he had interesting stories to tell. And but it would go to all the technical issues and say the uncertainties and so on. And most devices now are laser, so don't challenge any of those tickets because
Yeah.
you will lose pretty small uncertainties.
You know, as you're talking, I'm looking around, and one of the banners I see directly NIST traceable standards.
Right here.
That
Right
could-
behind you.
That could be possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be.
Could be possible.
Directly NIST traceable.
Directly, if all their calibrations were performed at NIST.
All of them. You think they are?
For them, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
I can't see who they are.
Optical.
Oh. Optica. So we're at the end, gentlemen. It's been a great conference. As you can hear the crowd all around
they're
us.
like,
Yeah, they're
hey,
all.
thanks
they're
for
all-
the audience for
all-
showing up. We appreciate your.
Yeah, this is.
Thank you for the
I-
opportunity.
I can't believe like 30, 40 people want to sit here and watch us talk, but yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, all around us.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Well, Craig's got to do his Chewbacca.
I can't. My throat's dry today. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
Can we wrap on the pocket protector discussion?
Oh, on the where are we with the iteration of the pocket
Yeah,
protector?
or the people want to know.
The surgically implanted pocket protector for those who never want to leave home without it.
Yep.
Dilip's the one that he's going to be our prototype.
Yep. He's gonna get it.
He's gonna get it because this is second day in a row I haven't seen.
I know. I
protector.
I
didn't
haven't
see
seen
it
the
either.
pocket protector.
Yeah, and so we got to do something about that.
So the other thing here, Dilip's, as we're going out, Dilip's signing the metrology handbook. So
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, get
Joseph's
that.
yearbook.
Get that metrology handbook, everybody.
yeah, the metrology handbook's out. You come to the shows, you can get the authors of it to sign it, if you would want such a thing, or devalue it, as Dilip and I
Aren't
like
you
to
gonna
say.
sign your section there, Dylan?
I don't have a section because I reviewed some sections, but I'm gonna sign it by my name somewhere.
He's gonna
Uh,
write never change. Good luck at college. Never change.
Yeah.
uh,
He's gonna write it in the binding. Somebody's gonna find it in 1,000 years, and they're gonna start a religion.
Yeah.
The Almighty.
so years ago, this devaluing, we had the first edition of Metrology Handbook, and we used to donate it as a conference door prize.
Oh, cool.
And we used to have like the original handbook had 8 co-authors, and I was one of them. And so we would probably have like 4 or 5 authors attending the conference, so we'll have them signed. So I proudly went when I donated the books. I was the chair of Measurement Quality Division too. And I said, yeah, these are personally signed by 5 or whatever number of authors we had. And one of the gentlemen, God bless him, he passed away, Dave Agee from Fluke, very active in CSLI. But he had this quick wit, and so he basically said, so you devalued the book. And that's how the term and what Henry is saying
Yeah.
comes from.
Dilip uses it all the time.
I mean, some people collect books just for the inscriptions in them,
Yeah. So
what did people write in your yearbook, Ryan?
I forgot mine. It's in my
in the metrology in your
suitcase.
yearbook. What do you want Dilip to write? Never change.
What was the soliloquy or the not soliloquy? What's
Call-
the
Keep on.
Let's keep in touch over the summer.
Yeah.
Put your
This
home phone
is,
number in there.
Yeah.
here by my name in the forward,
Very nice.
Henry.
What? I'll sign on Dilip's name. Okay, I'll sign.
Sign over top of it.
Joseph, you got any parting words?
I just want to tell everybody I had a really great time. Really impressed with all the participants and all the exhibitors here. Some really great stuff, some new technology, cutting edge stuff, and and the people are really great. So we had a really great time.
We always love it here, right? All right, gentlemen, I think that is about it for this MSC 2023 experience.
Yeah, just
Thanks.
if you're out there, look up and you need proficiency testing that we talked about, look up Sapphire.
And of course, Sign Calibration School for all of your
Morehouse
training needs. Well, and we'll be coming back with the podcast season 3.
Season 3.
This is now the official end of season 2
It's
because
like Rick and Morty. Then in the season for Rick and Morty.
well,
kinda
we recorded a season 3 and half of it is destroyed. I have half of the recording.
I think you should just piece them together randomly and see what goes on.
I
what
probably
happens.
could. I
Yeah.
probably have more time now. I didn't before. So we're going to be coming with a season 3 again.
Yeah, we'll have to redo that. We talked about the measurement bias and some other.
Yeah,
some
we
other
had really good stuff.
really
But
good
maybe I
topics.
can salvage some of it and put it together somehow. All right. Well, thank you all.
Thanks.
And to all, a safe travel home.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks,
Bye.
Ryan.
Thanks.